Hello. So I want to talk a little more about knowledge without free will. Okay, like I said before, it seems like we can't have real knowledge without free will because without free will, it's like whatever conclusions you come to, you had no free will in coming to those conclusions. You couldn't have come to any other conclusion. And whatever you think is right, you have no free will in thinking that it's right or wrong. It's just the feeling of thinking that something is right just arises, okay, without free will. And I mentioned in a previous video that when there's no free will, the separation between me or between you and the rest of the world kind of disappears. And so there's no longer a me that can know things or figure things out. And that's why it seems like knowledge kind of goes away without free will. Uh, I think another way of putting it is to say that knowledge and rational thinking seems to require a sort of freedom. When you're thinking something through, figuring something out, it seems like you need to have the freedom to come to different conclusions. And without that freedom, it seems like rational thinking isn't really happening, and that genuine conclusions are not being reached, and that real knowledge is not being acquired. Uh, the philosopher Ted Honderick put it this way. He said, rational thinking needs to be like an exploration, not a guided tour. And without free will, it kind of seems like it's just a guided tour. It's just a happening. And I'm kind of thinking, why does rational thought need to have this freedom? And I think it gets to sort of the same idea as before. The freedom of rational thought uh, provides this separation between me and the rest of the world. It's like I am this separate entity that can move around freely, think freely, come to different conclusions. I can get information from the world and struggle with it, and I have a certain power of thinking that is not imposed. It's mine, and that's what makes me me, and that's what makes the conclusions I reach meaningful and real. Uh, and so this freedom, in essence, is me. The core of me is freedom. I think the free will question is the same as the self question. When you lose free will, you lose the self, you lose the power of rational thinking and meaning. So knowledge loses meaning. Now, knowledge without free will, knowledge is just a feeling that arises. There's no, because I don't have the freedom to accept it or reject it or evaluate it, it's lost its meaning. And I think these things all stand together or fall together. You lose free will and you lose knowledge, meaning, and the separate self.